we are at the point where we are almost talking about survival of the European Union. I think it's maybe as serious as that. As economists, we're focused a lot on economic issues, which tend to be a bit technical, and we certainly have to focus on those issues. However, we see that in the public at large, and maybe among economists as well, we have forgotten a little bit the founding values of Europe and what Europe has been made from. Peace, unity, Europe as a geopolitical entity as well. These values are being attacked both from outside the EU and from inside the EU. And this is the time to actually all come together to do something about that.
I think over the last 10 years and after the crisis, there has been clearly an erosion of trust in Europe from the people on Europe. And Europe is seen now as an agent of globalization and an agent of austerity. It has been a victim of the way the crisis was managed. People like the euro. Now, what they don't like, as I said, is the governance of the euro. So they like the stability and the strength of the currency. They don't want to go back to the years of high inflation and all this. But they don't like the governance. So we need to make this distinction. And we need to focus on how to complete and improve the governance.
The EU has been long accused of suffering from a democratic deficit. In the last elections, in 2014, turnout in European election was 42 point something, as compared on average across member states, as compared to 68% in national elections. So the parliament has become more influential and more transparent, and there are now roll call votes. But for example, in the council, very important votes are not public, and this is not very democratic. And so there are ways in which European institutions, the Commission, the Council, the Parliament, maybe to a lesser extent, could be made more transparent, more accountable, and hopefully this would improve its legitimacy.
I think the biggest challenge now for Europe and for us as economists is to reconnect with the concerns of citizens. For citizens, the euro has to work. What's happening in the kitchen, that's not their problem. I personally think that we, as an economic profession, we are not paying sufficient attention to that. Europe is viewed as an elite project. Now you can say, well, this project of Europe, we would have never achieved what we have achieved without it being an elite project to start with. But where we are today, we have to really, I think, reconnect the project.
Europe should learn to think about demonstrating that it can do something positive. Too often we have been making fantastic, outlandish promises. We've been promising that with the single market we would have bigger, better companies, that we would become the leader in technology, that we would deliver growth, the euro would provide more access to everyone, and so on. And then what do you see in the end? You take a headline number, you take growth rates, you take unemployment rates, and the result is just not completely there. If you every single experiment is like under a veil, something to hide policy mistakes, then we cannot make any progress. And Europe needs to be institutionalizing, I think, this experimentation method.